Hey everyone, Ivan Bluecool here, and today it's the final part of What If Ichigo Was Reborn with His Memories, the Thousand Year Blood War edition. Now, before we start the Thousand Year Blood War, let's do a quick overview and recap of what's happened during the story. Ichigo's memories were sent back in time because his body was destroyed by Juha. He's essentially lived a new game plus, already knowing everything about himself, about his powers, his history, his bloodline, and he's a lot more powerful now. Thanks to that power, he's way more built and way stronger, able to use all his powers at full power, and is lot more like smart, humble, and ready to just do what needs to be done. Now, before the Thousand Year Blood War happens, Ichigo has kept his power for those 2 years and has been using it to train with people like Kenpachi, Byakuya, head to the Zero Squad, find give all his friends have their second war power ups before the first war even begins. This also prevents the Quincy from ever going to the Zero Squad barracks because they would have no opportunity because Ichigo and his friends already did their training because Juha couldn't be summoned ahead of time. Sure, we know he's in the area and takes down the Ron car within like let's say 3 to 5 months, but Ichigo took his like time and went early on by calling the Zero Squad over, and them knowing that he's way more powerful than he honestly was in the story, would probably have been curious and came down anyways. Now, because Misaki's still alive, Ichigo has her bring Ryukin in, Uryu's father, and Ishin, so they can all prepare for the war. Ryukin was working on something to help negate Quincy powers from Katagiri, his wife's heart, the blood clot. Ichigo would use this as a backup plan if the holification plan doesn't work, but Kisuke was already working on that part in the first place. This will be used in the first war rather than the second war, just so they can take down the Quincy a lot sooner. A lot of these captains won't be nerfed by their Bankais, and plus, most importantly, they have one extra captain. Gin is alive. Yeah, that's right. Ichigo puts a good word in for Gin to help protect the Soul Society, and he's released on good behavior. He's going to be an extra factor into the war. During the time skip, Ichigo made his training first with the Zero Squad to get his true Zanpakuto and his true power released, and then he spends a lot of that time training up with his friends and Kenpachi. The Quincy are relatively the same power level because they have the data, but because they had the data, they already had all the prep time needed to try and steal Bankais. Ichigo in the human world has Kisuke work on the holification powers so that they can be ready for the first invasion and to poison the Quincy's. This would be a very helpful power. And with Ichigo taking down Aizen ahead of time, Yamamoto has both hands. Ichigo had made sure that they'd have that extra power before Nell appears, and that's when we begin the Thousand Year Blood War arc. Now, things would go about the same way first, Ichigo leaving to Hueco Mundo, because he knows that's when the war will begin. Because Ichigo already knows he's a Quincy, he won't be held up or have his body damaged by Kyogi OP's jail ability. He will instead just destroy Kyogi immediately and head back home with Kisuke because Kisuke doesn't need to stay there, and he left Chad and Orihime at home as well because they wouldn't have been needed for the first invasion anyways. So Orihime can instead come over after the first invasion ends to heal up anyone that's hurt. Uryu being closer to Ichigo and Ryukin already knowing what the plan is because Ichigo shared all the information he knows, would be their double agent. That's right, he would be ready with the bow when the time comes. Now, the first invasion would go off in the same exact way. The moment Ichigo ran off, they immediately invaded. Since Garen Yusai is a lot stronger in this story, Sasakibe would probably still lose his life, but that would be used as fuel because Ichigo didn't know when and how he lost his life. Genryusai would be able to fight the fake Juha botch and be able to take him down a lot sooner, still having more of his power. A lot of the war would go relatively differently. A way more powerful Kenpachi was able to take down a lot of their Stern Reader and honestly do more damage to the fake Juha bots, so Genryusai wouldn't need to use as much of his Bankai power as in general. Byakuya would be able to defeat Asnode in his Shikai because Shikai became that powerful. Rukia would take down her Stern Reader. Renji would take down Master Masculine. Toshiro would be a lot stronger and take down Kangdu. Gin Ichimaru would be an extra factor with how fast he is, would be taking down Stern Reader left and right, leaving them a lot more powerful. And thanks to the Visors having a good word from Ichigo as well, they would be in the first invasion, just helping take down and kill lots of Stern Reader. Now, this is where things would change. Uryu would have been in ahead of the time with Hashwad so they can watch the battle unfold. Juha Botch thought that if he can get Uryu early and give him his script, it would be a lot more helpful to their invasion plan because Ichigo is a lot stronger. This is where the plan goes, where all the captains would start immediately using their Bankais. Many of the Quincy's would pull out their medallions, thinking this is the perfect opportunity to steal their Bankais. Their Bankais get stolen, but this is where Kisuke makes his plan known and uses the holification to immediately poison and remove the Bankais from these Quincy's. A lot of these Quincy's are now in shock, and they gotten some hollow damage, leaving them impure, which makes them a lot weaker. They would probably use their Volt Standings right there and would be a major fight, pretty much destroying the Soul Society. But many captains are way more powerful, and thanks to Onohana still being alive, because she was healing Kenpachi while Orihime was healing Ichigo during their many clashes over the years, Kenpachi would just be a wow factor even without Nozarashi, which he probably would have figured out by then, knowing that he needs all this power to fight Ichigo, who he thinks is his best friend. Ichigo would make his way back to Soul Society almost instantly, and with little to no damage because the jail can't stop him, because he knows he's a Quincy, so he would just rush through. They would be able to get back to Soul Society to meet Juha Botch. Juha Botch would have tried to get Sosuke Aizen onto his side, but Aizen seeing that he's not really that much of a threat because his invasion plan isn't going to work, would just be spit on him, wouldn't need to deal with any sort of Quincy or False King, and probably even laugh at him for how badly he messed up. Juha Botch would come out seeing that Kenpachi and Yamamoto, two war potentials, have already defeated his fake Juha Botch, and would probably need to fight them off as well. Have Hatchwald fight Kenpachi, and he fights Genryusai. Now this would help waste a lot more of Juha Botch's energy and power, leading to Ichigo to eventually appear at almost full strength, because he took almost no damage against Kyugi OP and was able to rush back almost immediately. With many more powerful allies, and with the Visors and Fullbringers, with all his friends all there, many of the Quincy's are defeated relatively easily, leaving cleanup way faster. Now, I would feel the powerful Holy Squad with Askin and Gerard, they would still survive, but that would be for a later invasion. In this, Hashwad is wondering how he's holding back this Kenpachi and trying to use his power, and Uryu is right there, just waiting and watching, only for Ichigo to appear. Ichigo appears and would find that there's a lot more help here, which is a great thing, immediately going into his Bankai, Tensa Zangetsu Bow Edition. Ichigo would then use this opportunity to help attack Juha Botch, firing bows straight at him, making sure that he doesn't have any opportunity to counter exactly while fighting Yamamoto, who's just burning the area. And thanks to all the people around being very durable, they don't get affected by the burning, scorching fields. Juha Botch, enraged, thinking that maybe I came too early, is going to like use more of his power to try and rain down massive arrows to defeat the Shinigami. He makes his giant sky bow sword, fires it into the ground, and will use this to try and end Ichigo's life, thinking I'll just piece them back together. It's not a problem. And this is where Yamamoto jumps in the way and takes the attack head on. Ichigo, in shock, thinking I could have. Wait, why'd you take the shot from me? Yamamoto's thinking I used too much. I made too much work of humans during Aizen's invasion, and I need to make amends with that, so take him down. Ichigo, using this power, is enraged and starts attacking Juhabash with more of his powers, his hollow powers, his full-bring powers, his Quincy powers, his Shinigami powers, making sure Juhabash can't escape. Before the time limit appears, Juhabash demands Uryu face Ichigo for him, and this is where Uryu sees the opportunity, is about to fire his special Quincy canceling arrow that his father gave him. Ichigo would instead flip into a blade and turn his Zanpakuto back into his giant cleaver. He's going to rush Juhabash, and Juhabash gets fired from behind, negating his power. In this moment, Ichigo swings his sword, cutting straight through Juhabash, destroying his mind and ending his life. Haschwad, in shock, rushes over to his king, seeing that he was defeated when his power wasn't even at full strength yet. Looking around, thinking this is like the end, Juhabash instead escapes with any remaining Quincy's left over, as the invasion was not only called and ended. Ichigo managed to defeat Juhabash early, and with all this like support, they were easily able to cut down on many of the Shinigami dying, only losing the head captain and his vice captain in the process, while gaining Gin and many of the visors as their helpers. Now, this is where the story would end, but no, there's still one more, the second invasion. Haschwad would be enraged that his king was destroyed and his body is already taken to the Muken, so he would need to stage another invasion with the remaining royal guard. He'd bring Gerald, Pernita, he'd bring Askin, he would bring all of them over and use them for their invasion. Now, it would be a small squad, and they would immediately try and destroy Ichigo and try to use and end the remaining Shinigami. But in this, many of the canon fights would go about the same way, because the Zero Squad didn't do anything either. Kenpachi is already more powerful, so he would probably go fight Gerald directly while Mayuri took out Pernita. That fight would go on the exact same way, Nemu losing her life and leaving a brain, but Mayuri would be fine with that. Askin would be taken down by Kisuke, Yoruichi would be helping, and they would have a lot more captain-level Shinigami to support them. Toshiro turning into an adult would end Gerald's existence, and then they would need Ichigo or Uryu to just fire into Gerald's soul, destroying it, because Quincy's have a very knack power of destroying souls. Haschwald would be enraged, showing his true emotions, would fight Uryu, and they would have their one-on-one. Uryu would, like in canon, defeat Haschwald with his power, the antithesis, and Haschwald would just be left on the floor with massive damage, thinking that our invasion failed. Why did our invasion fail? He would look to Ichigo and ask, "Are you a mind reader? Are you able to see into the future?" And Ichigo just tells him the truth. "No, I've already experienced this. You, Quincy, have already took everything from me." Haschwald wondering, "You're a Quincy too. Your mother is a Quincy. Why didn't you join us?" Ichigo's like, "I'm not a Quincy. I'm just a substitute Shinigami." And Haschwald passes away. Many of the fights are over. Lots of the Quincy's are destroyed. Wakamundo is freed. Hallibel can be brought back as the queen. Many more Shinigami are alive, and the Quincy's were pretty much handled with relative ease. the Zero Squad would come down knowing that the Shinigami have already taken everything down. There would be a funeral held for Genryusai, protecting Ichigo with his like final breath, knowing that it was just the only way to save the future generation and to finally quell the evil that was him. Unohana would wish that she was also gone, because Kenpachi is already more powerful than she ever was now, because he was training for multiple years, but thinks this is fine. She could stay alive and be Isane's captain. With the Quincy's quelled, the balance is left in the world, but then Ichibei would be wondering if he needs to take Ichigo away and treat him like the Soul King, removing his limbs. But this is where they bring in Juhabachi's like body. Ichigo just gives him that body and thinks if the Soul King ever falls apart, you can use Juhabachi's body as another anchor, leaving the world in relative balance, which is a great thing. Now they would also be with the world safe and balanced, with Juhabachi's body sent to the Soul King to be used as a backup anchor. Jushiro would eventually pass away because his body has finally given up from holding one of the pieces of the Soul King, leaving him also gone. They would have lost the head captain, Jushiro. Tozen lost his life during the Wako Mundo arc. Aizen would still be sealed up without being needed because Ichigo already handled the situation. And yes, Ichigo wouldn't want to fight Juhabachi at best. Ichigo is not that type of person. He isn't Goku. He would immediately destroy and fight somebody if he had the chance, which he did do that with Aizen. He attacked Aizen from behind, which, funny enough, is how the Soul Society acted during the original arc, where if your friend's being attacked, attack them from behind, which honestly makes Ichigo even cooler, knowing that he follows the true Shinigami way. And now let's go into the epilogue. Ichigo marrying Orihime because she's finally old enough, and Masaki happy that she has a new daughter. His sisters would probably be shocked that Ichigo was able to bag such a beautiful girl, but after seeing that Sora's still alive and a good person, and decided that this would be a great thing, gives his blessing. Isshin would wish that the trade would still go on, which Ichigo would still kick him in the face, and Masaki would be so happy to finally meet her grandson, Kazui. The family would live together in the house, and it would be just a fun time. Now, you think I forgot about Kon. No, Ichigo has Kon. It's just that Kon doesn't do much because Ichigo already has so much power, but he would still like Kon. Kon would be that fun babysitter that just keeps an eye on the kids when Ichigo is off doing his Shinigami things. Orihime would have a nice, peaceful life. Would not have been bullied as much and be proud of her long, beautiful hair. Her and Masaki would have the weirdest diets, which Isshin and Ichigo would probably want to go have takeout because they would have so much problems. Uryu would have directly avenged his mother, and Ryuken and him would have a way stronger bond, thanks to Masaki always bringing her around and having Isshin and Ichigo around, influencing how a father and son should be acting. And this is where we'll end the story. Ichigo, with his memories, managed to not only survive but thrive in this second timeline. He managed to destroy Juhabachi and save the universe. Things were kept in balance, and Aizen is held in prison without needing to be released. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'll have a new What If tomorrow, hopefully. I'm planning to do a Dragon Ball Z What If, and this one's going to be a very interesting and fun one. This one is going to be a self-insert one, but honestly, with an extra special twist. Thanks for listening.